Welcome to our webinar on journey mapping. We're going to discuss how to get personal with your customers and understand them on a deeper level without having to sit down and go to dinner with every single one of them. So Meghann Haley and Abby Fitzgerald will talk about creating personas, mapping customer journeys, and how you use those two things to enhance your marketing strategies and customer experiences to drive engagement, loyalty, and growth. I'm going to be the host today, Carolyn Pittman. I've been an account executive with Panos for 4 years and have over 15 years of financial marketing experience. I've been here for a while. Just a little housekeeping. We do have a 2 o'clock hard stop. So any questions we don't get to, we will address after the webinar is over. And with that, I'm going to let Meghann and Abby introduce themselves.
Yeah. All right. So my name is Meghann Haley. I am a digital media specialist here at Panos. I've been here for about almost 9 months now, and I help create, along with other members of our team, I help create the personas and customer journey mapping that we do for our clients here. And I'm very excited to talk all things personas and customer journey mapping with you guys today. So yeah, that's me.
And I'm Abby Fitzgerald. I am a media manager here at Panos, really focused on all things organic, all things customer journeys, all things user experience. So along with Meghann, I work with her on the customer journey mapping and persona team to really kind of get into all of the good data about who your customers are and what they are willing to do on your site.
We love the good data.
We do love data.
Yes, we do. We do.
Good stuff. So get right into the heart of things here. We often hear about personas and journey maps, but what exactly are they and how do they complement each other?
So a buyer persona is a research-based profile that we do that represents a target customer in a specific location. So typically buyer personas basically describe who your ideal customers are and who they are as a person. We might highlight things like what their days are like, what their interests are, and what challenges they might face, and how they often make decisions in relation to purchasing new products and signing up for new services and whatnot. So buyer personas also help ensure that all of the aspects involved in acquiring and serving your customers are best tailored to the buyer's needs. So we typically do 3 different types of personas. So there's demographic, location, and psychographic. So for demographic personas, for these, we might break it down by generation. So we might have one profile for Gen Z, another for millennials, maybe one for baby boomers, and so forth. And we also might do demographic personas by age. So we might look at a profile for people who are in their 20s, and then one for people in their 30s, and then one for people in their 40s, and so forth. We also might do one based off of income too, and break it up by lower class, middle class, and upper class, and evaluate how the differences between those different profiles might interact in the customer journey. So yeah, that's basically demographic personas. And location personas, the second type of personas that we do. We might break this down by different towns, different counties, different states. If you have, if your business is a bit bigger and it's more spread out across different states. So again, this is typically the best persona to do if you have a bigger, if you have more branch locations. It wouldn't really make sense to do it if the branches are in a more tight area geographically, because typically the data will most likely be the same overlapping. So yeah, and we can also break it up by analyzing urban locations versus suburban and rural locations as well. So that's a really nice strategy to do as well if you're interested in looking at those specific locations. And lastly, for psychographic personas, these types of personas really focuses on who the customer really is psychologically. So these are often more product related and focuses more on the mindset of a customer who may be looking to sign up for, like, for instance, like to sign up for a loan or opening a checking account. So it's more of like, it's very product focused compared to the other two that I just mentioned. And the psychographic personas, they highlight the attitudes of the customer and really highlights like what they're feeling and what what their interests are. And it might also focus on what their aspirations are as well, and other goals they might have. And age and generation, that kind of stuff doesn't really impact this type of persona as heavily, because again, the guiding factor is the mindset of the customer in this one. And we typically don't do the psychographic personas as often. We usually layer psychographics into the demographic and location personas to get a deeper meaning and a more holistic understanding of the customer. So yeah, that's pretty much buyer personas. So yeah, Abby, do you want to talk about customer journey mapping a little bit?
Would love to. Kind of as Meghann just went through, personas are huge, but they're really the first step of doing the personas and customer journey mapping. And we'll get into the process and the purpose in just a few, but really it's understanding what you want these personas. You might have these goals in mind on how to have these personas created. But once you have a general understanding of who your audience is, who are these main sectors, like Meghann said, whether it's location based or if it's demographic based with that layer of psychographics on top, once you have that understanding, then you have to map out their process and how they move throughout their journey. And that really is what customer journey mapping is. It's a very fancy name for something very, very simple. It truly is mapping out or writing down the process in which a consumer has to take to complete whatever their preferred action is. We often think that the kind of most important action to take on a site or in general in person is conversion. You want your users to convert. You want these customers to become long-term lifetime customers. But you can't do that if you don't understand the way in which they work and the way in which they're willing to move throughout their journey and their buying journey. So really a customer journey map is just a visual representation of every single touch point a user or a consumer might have within their buying journey. And this can come into play in regards to how did they first hear about you? What is that consideration phase? How did they even know that you were an option for them? And then moving them down the line, how are they interacting with your product, with your website? How are they learning about what you as a bank or a credit union, what you have to offer? And then also mapping out what actions are they taking? Not only how are they moving through your site, what are they interacting with? What are they clicking on? Are they calling you up? Are they doing everything online? Is the process what you anticipated it to be? Or are there some bumps in the road? So truly, again, this is a very large topic, very large conversation, and we are trying to make it very high level to fit within this lovely 30-minute period of time. But really, the process in which Panos and our team, the way that we approach customer journey mapping in personas, usually we recommend doing on average about 3 personas and 2 customer journey mapping tracks. So for example, your 2 customer journey mapping tracks could be deposit, getting more deposits, and then the other one maybe it could be mortgages or some sort of residential lending, and really understanding the process of those 2 very specific tracks in the lens of those 3 personas that you have created. 3 personas and 2 customer journey maps, that's just kind of our best practice, but that is going to vary depending on the size of your financial institution, what your goals are, what you're looking to accomplish, whether it's more focused on, do I really want to understand who my customer is, or do I want to understand the journey in which they're taking? And really the 3 and 2 ratio, it's just a place to start. You can add more in the future, but it's a really good way to not get super overwhelmed by the amount of data you're going to have to analyze. And you can always go back and refine later. You can add in, you can adjust, you can make each persona more granular in the future, but starting off baseline, start smaller. Again, we're going to get into how this works and what the process is. But having that baseline of understanding 3 main groups and then the 2 journeys that they're taking on these 2 different tracks is a really simple way to start the process.
Beautiful, beautiful. I like that, starting with 3 personas, because I think a lot of people find personas are clearly broad generalizations, and
Yep.
having them in play for a while and working with them, you start to see where you might want to break them, as opposed to right off the bat saying we want 87 personas. It's far better to start broad and then go from there.
Absolutely.
So what are the benefits of developing personas and journey maps, and why does someone want to invest the time and resources into creating them?
So there are, and Meghann is going to get into all of the benefits, but the actual purpose of doing a customer journey map or understanding your personas is to better understand your customers, because the better you understand them, the better you can target them and the better you can market to them and help them reach whatever their goals are. But from our perspective and from a data perspective, doing personas and doing these customer journey maps, they uncover some pretty intense, hard truths in regards to preconceived notions. And throughout learning about the process, learning about the journey in which a user has to take, maybe some of the bumps in the road, you are going to uncover some uncomfortable truths, and they are going to go against the grain in what you have often believed. For example, we had a customer once say that in their specific target market, Google not used, not the most important search engine. People do not use it. And that was because the person we were speaking to didn't use Google. They didn't want to. So in their mind, they didn't need to use Google to target, to do paid campaigns, for example, because users in their location didn't use it. Well, when we started this journey, just a quick notion, Google takes up about, I think it's 92% of the search space. There's really never a case where people in your area aren't using Google. And we uncovered that with very concrete data to show, nope, this is why you should be doing paid campaigns on Google, because people in your target market, just because you're not using it, doesn't mean the rest of your customers aren't. So there's a lot of times where you have to kind of face these uncomfortable truths that there might be weaknesses with your products or with your services or with the journey in which a user has to take. So uncovering these truths and moving forward will really help you better understand your customer, and truly just upsetting that stereotype that what you've always done might not be the best process. So really, we do this to help you better strategize both your brand and your marketing to best serve your customers and actually back up what you're doing with real data. Meghann, do you want to dive into the actual benefits of using kind of these processes?
Oh, I would love to. I would love to. So again, like Abby has mentioned and Carolyn, another big factor behind this project and these materials is to think about what are the benefits? What's in it for you? How is this going to help you? You may ask, well, I'm about to tell you. So customer journey mapping generally helps brands visualize how customers feel at all of the touch points they may have, from being when they're introduced to you in your products and services, and what they may encounter during the process of considering doing business with you and ultimately becoming your customer. So a couple of things that this journeying this process out helps you avoid any potential issues ahead of time, so that your potential customers will have a good experience learning about your products and signing up for a checking account or what have you, because which in turn, this will help increase customer retention and making sure that your customers stay happy, and to make sure that they want to keep doing business with you. And this process also helps you discover key information to make the best decisions for your business and for your customers. And you'll probably learn some surprising things and learn things that you might need to focus on one area of your business more so than another area, because of X, Y, and Z. So basically, this process, it really helps shine a flashlight on all of the corners of your buyer's journey, which is really helpful to know and to learn about. And creating buyer personas and continually using them to guide your business can also help you stay centered on the needs of your customers, because it's really important to align your marketing strategy to what buyers really want the most, which will help you get more valuable leads. And this will also help how your organization can help them achieve their goals and their needs as well. And also, brands that have used customer journey maps actually helps reduce costs. So one study that I came across that I thought was interesting said that brands that do customer journey mapping experience more than 10 times improvement in the cost of customer service. And these brands actually experience a 21% year-over-year growth, while brands that don't do this actually experience a decline at negative 2.2%. So it's really worth the investment to do this, because ultimately it'll help reduce costs for you. So that's amazing to keep in mind. And another important thing to also think about is that this can also ultimately help with more positive word of mouth that's generated by your customers. Because if you take the time to really focus on your customer's experience and prioritize making it a positive one, and making sure that each touch point in the journey is good, people are going to talk positively about your business. And this is especially powerful for businesses that have audiences who are from tight-knit communities and locations, because they're really connected with each other and they really trust what they say about businesses and what have you. And there was actually another study that I came across that found that 88% of people said that they trust recommendations from friends and family above all other forms of advertising, which is incredible. So an increase in positive word of mouth can help reduce costs for acquiring new customers. So yeah, just many things to love about customer journey mapping and personas at the end of the day. So gotta love it. Gotta love it.
So getting into the weeds, what's the process for creating a journey map and a persona? How long does it typically take? What kind of information is helpful? What can we gather? What's analyzed? And what's the development process look like?
Yeah, we're going to try to keep this as high level as possible here. But right off the bat, first thing to know, this is not an overnight process. This is not a 2-week-long process. This is months and months of analyzing data, understanding your personas, and creating their journeys. So first, the prep, what actually goes into preparing to do customer journey mapping and personas. So there are 2 main categories that fall under prep. There is the brand discovery and goals. So the discovery is we sit down with staff, branch staff, middle management, upper management, and this is specifically for customer journey mapping. So we sit down with these groups to really get really learn and understand what is the process that a consumer takes start to finish to open an account, to apply for a loan. What touch points are you doing after they have closed or opened their account? How are you reaching back out to them? How are you building and maintaining that relationship? Where are some hiccups happening? Where are you feeling there are drop-offs? Where is their attrition rates? We want to know basically everything ever. We want to know about the process, and also hearing it from branch staff is critical. You can't just talk to your middle management and your upper management because they're not in the day-to-day. They don't have those face-to-face conversations with the customer. So that's the first step in the discovery, is really breaking down what is working, what is not working, and what is the overall process. Meghann, do you want to dive into goals?
I would love to. So another component to think about is your goals. So we need to know what the overall goal of this project is. So it could be, is it to understand your customers better? Is it to get more younger customers, or any other different kind of demographic that you might be looking to expand on and widen your audience? Is it to improve conversions? and get more account openings. It also could be, is it to increase service utilization? So for example, like mobile adoptions, it could be understanding how willing your customers are to adopting your services, and the different processes that you guys have specifically as a brand. And also another goal that could be another good thing to focus on for this would be to understand areas for improvement, and figure out exactly what you can do better to help improve the overall customer journey for your customers and to make sure that they have a good experience with you. And kind of going off that, like, would it be also to help focus on customer perception? Would it be to help, are you focused on making sure that your customers have a positive image of you? Do you want them to speak better about you? So it could be a lot of different things. It's going to be different for every bank, every business. It depends on what you really want to focus on. So we want to make sure that this project will set out to answer your most important questions and the questions that you need to help you strengthen your business and achieve what you want to achieve at the end of the day. So yeah.
So once we really, sorry.
Go ahead. You're good.
So once we have that prep done, we understand your goals, we understand what are the main areas that you feel need improvement, what are we focused on, and then now we understand the process. This is when we get into the good stuff. So this is when the media team will have what we call a data dump. So we have the client send us a lot of data, a lot of Excels. It is heavy. But really what we're looking for here is we want a very, very large collection of client provided core or hard data. Like basically we always request raw data. Do not make these charts look pretty yet. You are looking at baseline CSV files. Like it's not pretty. Obviously, we don't want PII. We want nothing to do with the names and addresses of these people. Couldn't care less. We want their birth dates, kind of that type of information, their accounts, the account balances. We have a whole kind of long list of information that we do request. The types of relationships, what is the process of, if you have an account, are you signed up automatically for mobile and online banking? What does that process look like? Are people adopting these services? So really it is just a huge raw data dump that we then spend roughly 2 months analyzing. So we'll go through the whole entire process of reading, reviewing, and creating charts to really represent the data in an easy to read way. And really, really understanding your data based off of what you're able to send us. What conclusions can we draw from the data that you share with us? And then on the other side, we have to understand who these people are. So then that's when it comes to the demographic and psychographic data dump.
Yeah, so while we're looking at client data, we're also actually doing research to help gather demographic and psychographic data. So for demographic data, we often look at the branch towns and collect everything and anything that we can find about the area and do research on it. So we might specifically look at housing, professions, political views, poverty rate, health, education, diversity, economic status, and so on. And for psychographic data, we do research to help collect psychographic data to learn more about who the audience is, what their interests are, what media they might use, how they consume content, what their favorite apps are, what their favorite magazines are, stuff like that. And what are their emotions, where they might be at in what stage of their life they're in, and also looking into what their goals, needs, and frustrations might be. And once media is done gathering this information, and once we know who the customer is, how they function, and so on, we send all of our data to our design team. And our design team is incredible. They really immerse themselves in the personas that we have created. And I know some people on the design team, they actually listen to podcasts just to learn how the people speak in the areas that we're doing these personas on. And they'll also read local news and they really dive deep into the lives of these personas. It's really incredible to see. And they really bring these personas to life, and they help create the perfect snapshot of who they are. And they also make it very visually appealing, and it's easy to digest so that you're not super overwhelmed with the information, but you have enough information to learn about who the persona is and how they may fare throughout the customer journey. So yeah, Abby, do you want to speak a little bit on the timeline?
Timeline, kind of quick synopsis. So it goes to media. We do about 2 months of a deep analysis on all of this data, both client provided and research. Then it goes to design, and they make these personas visually easy to digest. And then they send it back to us once these personas have basically been created within their own life. Like they are this persona, this person. We then take that back in the media team, and that's when we begin the customer journey mapping. Now that we know who this person is and how they function, well, then how do they move throughout the journey? And that usually takes a few weeks. So again, pretty long process.
Yeah, lots of blood, sweat, and tears go into this. Sometimes a lot of tears, but gosh darn it, we get it done. So it's definitely not an easy project to do, but it's projects like these that really demonstrate how well we work together as a team at Panos to create something for our clients that can use this to their benefit and help improve their business.
Awesome. 2 minutes. Speaking of those benefits, how do we utilize these? I know, when I was in financial institutions, we had, segments of customers who would come in, they'd get a loan, they'd get a checking and a savings, and they were great. And then they would move because they were military, and so they would close their accounts, all of them. So we used it to try and figure out how to get them to engage, remotely, use our online services. So that's
there are tons of ways that you can use this data, and that's exactly a good way to do it. As well as you're able to, again, because you now better understand the journey in which these users are moving throughout your site and who they actually are, you can update the messaging on your website to be more targeted, be more personalized, depending on what that specific audience cares about and what they want to see. Adjust some headlines, adjust some images. This really kind of falls into the bucket of marketing automation. So understanding who these people are, and then helping them possibly with a e-blast or a newsletter or something that you can send out to them because they hit this specific part of their journey. Let's move them through a little bit more because we want to get them to the next stage. But because you understand what these stages are, you can speak to them at every single stage of their journey and make sure that they're moving through in the most positive and efficient manner. And this really helps when it comes to retention. So if a segment or a specific group is constantly leaving after one specific event, now you know about it. Again, it's a lot about uncovering those truths of what can be changed, what is working, what is not. Well, now that you have this fully mapped out, the process is very clear on what needs to be adjusted. We understand that this is a huge lift, and I know I see that it's 2 o'clock. I'll try to speak quickly. We understand that this is a huge list, and it's a huge undertaking. And customer journey mappings and personas, it's not just a nice to have bunch of information. It is critical in order to implement valuable new strategies moving forward because you have the data to back it up.
Well, we may need a part 2 on this, but I'm gonna end it here, and we'll answer any questions in the queue via email, and we'll keep you posted. Thank you, everyone.